Hi there, this is the second in my third series about helping people to deal with mental or emotional problems. And here we are in the second section, and I'm going through things which you need to be showing to them so that they can feel comfortable. So for example, being non-judgmental. All you're doing is listening, and you shouldn't react in any way which the person you're speaking to would think was, oh, he's judging me, he's thinking I'm a bad person, he thinks I'm mad or whatever. So you mustn't allow that to come across in your body language or in your face. Secondly, you need to be trustworthy. That is absolutely vital. And this brings up a whole load of stuff about confidentiality, of course. There needs to be a situation where they are sure that you are going to keep things confidential. They've summoned up the courage to talk to you, so you've got to respect that. And you need to be prepared possibly for the long haul. Some of these things take a long time to settle. However, having said preserve confidentiality, there could be situations where you just cannot do that. The person is telling you something which is too bad, too difficult for you to handle, and might need to be passed on to somebody else. Somebody, a professional psychiatrist, a psychotherapist, counsellor, or somebody like that. Do not allow yourself to get in too deep. And the person who's speaking to you needs to know that from the beginning. Otherwise it can be an uncomfortable conversation. You then need to be reliable. Be on time for things. Be on time for meetings, and warn them if you can't actually make the meeting. They may have been summoning up the courage to say something to you at the next meeting that they're expecting, and then suddenly you're not there. So that would not do a lot for their mental health. Silence. Now, in ordinary conversations, we find silence a difficult thing to handle. You know, after about 30 seconds of two people sitting facing each other and nobody has said anything, we start to get a bit, we shift around in our seats and generally look uncomfortable. If you're talking to somebody who's got some deep-seated problem, they are probably finding it difficult to say anything. And so you've got to learn to be tolerant of silence and just let it run and let it run and see what happens for at least a couple of minutes, which will feel like an hour. It's so important because often people who are facing you with a problem will know what they want to say, but it's going to be so difficult for them to say it. Some disclosure they're going to make, or something that they want to explain. They're afraid of what your reaction will be. So that's the reason for their silence. Also, as a way of building relationships, it's useful if you can share your own experiences with things, and that will help trust to grow. That's not something a professional would normally do, however, but you're not a professional. The good thing about it is that the person who hears you say whatever it is can think in their head, oh, I'm not that weird after all, because you've just said something which is very like this person's feeling. I want to end this section with a couple of quotations. One I read in a book recently. Relationships are deepened when we share our weaknesses. We think that we can only share our strengths, but being vulnerable deepens intimacy. And I found that to be true in people I've spoken with. And Professor Robert Dunbar said this: friendship is the single most important thing affecting our psychological health and well-being, as well as our physical health and well-being. Just having a friend that you can talk to can make a huge difference to somebody.